Welcome to my channel. Click on that little red button to subscribe to my channel and click on that little bell notification icon to be notified. For those who have witnessed a wedding objection during the speak now or forever hold your peace portion, what happened? I was working at a wedding when I was younger. I was running the bar at the reception, which was very close to the hall the weddings were at. We were told that the reception would begin at around 4 p.m. It was already around 3-ish and I was packing fridges, the usual barman things, which one of the male guests were sitting there drinking. I asked if he was not joining the reception, to which he replied something along the lines, "When I have the courage." He downs his drink and leaves. 10 minutes later he's back, looking extremely disappointed. Guy orders a drink and less than 30 seconds later another guy who's dressed extremely well, turns out to be the groom, walks in, punches him in the back of the head and leaves. This dude just picks his drink up and sipped it further. I eventually found out that this dude had downed his drink, walked into the reception down, admitted to sleeping with his wife on the night again and then before the wedding. He was never invited to the wedding. He just felt the groom needed to know. So he found out where the wedding was, suited up and dropped the info mid-ceremony. The best man at my stepsister's wedding did this. It happened at the rehearsal the night before. It was a very large wedding and the rehearsal was bigger than a lot of weddings. The minister was going over the vows quickly while giving instructions on what to do. When he said something about objections, the best man interrupted, saying he had to put a stop to this. He was in love with the bride and was sure she felt the same way. My sister and everyone else was horrified. It caused plenty of chaos and confusion. As far as I know, after that, neither the bride nor the groom ever spoke to him again. At my cousin's wedding, when the exchanging of vows took place, my aunt shouted, "Wasn't there supposed to be a part where you could object?" Or something along those lines. One of my friends interrupted his cousin's wedding to come out of the closet. He couldn't understand why people were so pissed at him. When I was 13, we went to my second cousin's wedding. Everything is going great. They even got past the speak now or forever hold your peace part. They wrote their own vows, but before my second cousin's fiancée/wife could even begin her vows, his son got up, announced to the entire room that she was cheating on his dad with a drug dealer and he couldn't let his dad marry her. My second cousin yelled at him to either sit down or leave. The son left and my second cousin married her anyway. 5 years, one baby, he finds out it was true and they separated, but were later tweaked to be able to afford a divorce. Finally he got married a third time, but before he got married, his third now ex-wife had to pay for the divorce. The wedding had no objections. They moved to Missouri and this time, instead of separating or asking for a divorce, he decided he didn't want to be married anymore and just moved back to Cali to get back together with his second ex-wife. Yep, family dinners are a little awkward. Groom's dad interrupted the wedding to ask the bride's father whether or not she was truly a virgin. Then he went on about how he didn't know anything of the wedding and blah blah blah. Truly weird and embarrassing. I was there with an ex-boyfriend. I saw it nearly happen at my uncle's wedding. A friend of theirs got too drunk and when they said speak, now he smiled, started to stand up. My mother grabbed him by the hair and sat him back down by force. We went to a co-worker's wedding and the maid of honor objected and admitted to being the other woman and that the groom had been cheating with her for months. The bride left in tears and the groom immediately tried to get with the maid of honor. She told him she wasn't going to hurt the bride further and he needed to F off. The bride is doing much better and is now a manager here, and I haven't heard from the groom in over a year. The maid of honor and bride are on speaking terms, but I don't think the relationship is ever going to be what it used to be. It was at the wedding that we had at my grandmother's house, who lives out in the country next to a cattle farm. The cows didn't make a peep to that moment and one finally went moo. We all laughed and continued, but it was a funny moment about my wedding. A wedding I was at, one guy got up, pledged his underlying love for the bride, followed by 4 or 5 others objecting for various reasons, including one guy for the love of the groom. But the second or third objection, though it was clear that the whole thing was a clever ruse. I found out later that it was all set up by a bride as a prank on the unsuspecting groom and family and friends. It was pretty hilarious. Only once, but it was non-romantic. The father of the bride had been pretty absentee after her parents' divorce. He had remarried and gotten into the Christian Science religion, and they were both pretty terrible. The new wife was not invited to my friend's wedding, but the father came, and it seemed like he was there to be supportive. He stood up during the vows and proclaimed my friend was a bitch, just like a mother, and the groom should get out while he can because my friend was a soul-leeching succubus. Not the worst wedding I ever went to. My friend almost paid me to do it at my dad's marriage, and I was so close to agreeing, but my dad overheard and stopped me. I would have done it for free because I know how effing crazy that stupid woman was back then. He was at the wrong wedding. Nobody had said speak now, but the groom's ex still decided to get up and scream that he was her soulmate, and that she forgave him for the whole thing, and they should leave now because he'd proven his point. By breaking up with her 5 years earlier, falling in love, and holding a wedding. I ate so much cake that he got drunk at that wedding. Meanwhile, everyone else was screaming and throwing crap. Good times. The bride was my boyfriend's ex. No idea why they invited us. A friend of the couple's in cosplay's armor thanked MasterChef ran in after the date and said, "I'm not too late." Pointed a big, fake, spacey rifle at the bride and said, "Mother of Xenocide, the fruit of thy womb will never destroy my planet." Die, not her name. And the groom went, "Her name is her name." Seriously? Seriously? This is date? Yes. Time? Yes. Almost right location? Oh no. You want the other location, very similar location. One so commonly confused in the invitations had mentioned it. Oh my bad. Have a nice day. Theater majors, man. I did not even. My wife drugged me to a wedding that I did not want to be a few years ago, but I am forever grateful that she did because I was able to witness one of the greatest spectacles of human drama that has ever taken place. It was like an episode of Jerry Springer mixed with cops. The bride's lover spoke up at that moment and yelled, "I'll be goddamn if I'm ever to keep my mouth shut and let you steal my woman, you sorry piece of crap." This deranged old redneck proceeds to come at the groom with a pistol, threatening to shoot him if he doesn't give her up. It wasn't a huge wedding, maybe 40 or so people, but every single one of them went screaming and running. Maybe 2 stayed and called the cops. I grabbed my wife's hand and we retreated outside to watch the rest of the scene unfold from the church window. I went to a wedding when I was 5. It was between my older brother and his fiancée. Anyways, they said the whole speak now spiel, and before he was done, little 5-year-old me said, "I object." And everyone turned to me. I was dead silent because I didn't know what would happen. My dad asked me, "Well, why do you object?" And I said I did not know what would happen if I did. I was promptly seated. I was in an outdoor ceremony once, with a storm coming in. The pastor was trying to move things along so we wouldn't get caught in the rain. The reception was indoors. He asked if anyone knows of any objection, and instantly there was a clap of thunder. To his credit, the pastor just paused a moment and then said, "Anyone else? Alright, in that case," and finished the ceremony. This happened very recently, but in a different manner than the other comments I'm seeing. For years, grooms and best men are super close, room together, and the running joke is that they're more than friends. Later on, the groom meets the bride, falls in love, and proposes. Now, running joke is that best man is very disappointed that the groom is marrying someone else. At the wedding, officiant asks if anyone has objections. Best man objects. Officiant quickly overrules the objection. It was planned, and bride thought it was funny to acknowledge that the super close friendship between groom and best man did not result in anyone being kicked out of or awkwardness. Fun and surprisingly appropriate. The groom himself, he just stood up there and started crying in front of everyone, told the bride that he'd fallen out of love with her for a while, but didn't know how to break it off. It was extremely uncomfortable. They both stepped out and 10 minutes later came back out and got married because she apparently told them she was pregnant. They're still together with 3 kids. I'm not sure about the husband, but I can confirm that the wife is having an affair. Neither of them are happy, but she has a comfortable life and doesn't have the spine to leave. About 5 years ago, a coworker of mine invited us all to his wedding. He was a great guy, but none of us knew his wife. Some pictures of her, and he had said nothing but good things of her. Fast forward to the wedding, it was an incredibly nice one, like they paid quite a bit for it. Everything was going smooth and I was having fun, and I assumed so everyone else was. Anyway, now they're both at the altar or whatever, they're looking at each other in the eyes and smiling, and then the line comes, "Speak now or forever hold your peace." I got anxious, but nothing ever happens. So right as soon as the anxiousness faded away, the bride's mother stood up and objected. Blurted some crap about how she doesn't want to continue the family with a man like him. He was black, she was white. The bride-to-be cried, ran off, and went effing silent. The bride's dad took the mom and ran after the bride. The groom stood there incredibly awkward. He may or may not have achieved after leaving this body. Anyway, the groomsman took him away. I just left because it looked too weird. And apparently the reception went on. They did not get married that day, but ended up getting together anyway, privately, and surprisingly, work wasn't weird. He laughed about it, and they were happily married. A member of my wife's family had a pirated team wedding. A real pirate appeared and objected to the wedding. The groom dueled with his rapiers and won.